Welcome back, everybody, to ManBunBooks. Today, we are continuing our Abercrombie read-through, the First Law trilogy. Already did a video pitching kind of the first book in the series and everything. Today, we are talking about Before They Are Hanged, Book 2 of the First Law trilogy. This is going to be full spoiler deep dive on Before They Are Hanged. There will be no spoilers in here for Last Argument of Kings yet. We will do that next week, I hope, if I can get it done in time. The way I figure it is if you were convinced to read The Blade itself and then decided to continue on to Before They Are Hanged, you're reading book 2 in a trilogy, which is only 3 books, you're probably going to finish the series. So no need to go non-spoiler here. If you haven't read this yet, maybe turn away and come back when you have. There will be full spoilers for Blade itself and Before They Are Hanged. Nothing is off the table, but like I said, nothing for Last Argument of Kings. So ye be warned, spoilers abound. So, Before They Are Hanged, Book 2 of the First Law trilogy. Let's start. I think I'm going to kind of talk through some of the characters and kind of the arcs they go through in these books. We're going to discuss some of the themes, some of the things I liked in this book, some of the things I didn't like. So, there's not going to be a lot of that, because this book is awesome. So, let's start with the Fellowship of the Seed, as it's been starting to become known in the First Law community. Fellowship of the Seed, you have Bias, First of the Magi, Jazal Dan Luther, Logan Nine Fingers, Pharaoh Maljin, Malachus Kwai, Brother Longfoot, and his many talents, heading off into the far country or the far country? Maybe they're heading for the Circle of the World, I can't remember. To go find something. The Seed. This magical artifact that Bias wants to use against his brother Khalul and the Gurgish. So, as we saw at the end of book 1, they're getting ready to go. It's going to be a grand adventure. Haha. So let's start with Jazal. I love his arc with Fellowship of the Seed. Starts off so pathetic and whiny and same old Jazal. All the stuff we hate about him from book 1. He's arrogant. He thinks of everyone else as so much less than him. Doesn't want to do his share of work. Doesn't talk to anybody. He's super soft. Whines about everything. Just the worst traveling companion you can possibly have. And I like how Logan, we're going to kind of talk about all of them, who cares? I like how Logan, when he comes into this fellowship, he's like, all right, this is like the North. We've got our band together. You know, I've won over harder people than these. Everyone's kind of a jerk in this one. Baez is angry all the time. Pharaoh's just pushing everybody away. Jazal's a whiny little, you know what? I'm just going to win them over. Small kindnesses. Small kindnesses. Little good deeds here and there, and eventually, over the course of the journey, we'll win them over. So that's what he decides to do. Kind of works. It's great. Pharaoh, this is just another deal for her. She wants vengeance on Khalul. She wants vengeance on the Gurkish. Bias promised her that. She has to go get the seed to do that. Off we go. Very simple and cut dry for her. We don't know Bias's full motivation yet, except that he doesn't like Khalul. We'll soon. But Jazal's big moment in this book is about 3/4 of the way through when they are fighting. He's been getting to know like Nine Fingers. He's been getting to know Logan. He's been getting to know, you know, kind of, his walls are kind of coming down. He's cold, he's miserable, he's hungry all the time. He's kind of starting to find some camaraderie there, and he's starting to not be such an asshole. And then the unthinkable happens. Joe spends so much time in book 1 building up his jaw and his chin and how perfect it is and how amazing. Has there ever been a more noble jawline? His nose, so noble. I mean, my God, this nose. When Jazal takes a mace to the face, oh, it's so good. I did not feel bad for him in the slightest the first time I read it. Knowing Jazal now, I felt a lot worse for him this time around on the third read. But takes a mace to the face. His looks are ruined, you know. He's got the split lip. He's got it's all cranked up into here. He's got a leer all the time now when he talks. And teaches him some humility real fast, which is nice. Logan and Pharaoh. I like how their relationship starts in this book. Kind of very slowly, they kind of realize that they're kind of good for each other in a way, not good for each other in other ways, but they find a little companionship and they save each other's lives a couple times. The Bloody Nine comes out again when they're in that city and the Shanka come out to play, and Logan's just like grabs Pharaoh and he's like, get behind me, and just the Bloody Nine comes out full force. He almost goes after Pharaoh in that one too. But they kind of, find a little thing with each other and start sleeping together. And dude, Abercrombie sex scenes are so like, they're just so honest. It's hilarious stuff. But you can see Pharaoh just pushing people away all the time. You can see her anger, how traumatized she is from being a slave, and from, she doesn't let herself get close to people. You can see her thinking like, I like that Nine Fingers and me are close. He's comforting to me. I like being held by him. I like holding his hand. But you can't let him know that you care, because that's when they get you. She's so traumatized from her whole experience. I have a lot more sympathy for Pharaoh than the first time I read these books. The first time I couldn't stand her. A lot more sympathy for her this time around. It's really heartbreaking, actually, and Pharaoh's a really tragic character in a lot of ways. Of course, the big culminating moment on this journey, in the interest of time, we're going to skip to the end, is they get to this little desolate island off in the middle of nowhere, and lo and behold, the seed is not there. So the whole journey was for nothing. This is what makes Abercrombie so awesome. He's like, oh, you think just because you have some wizard put a fellowship together and they go off on a quest to go find something, you think they're going to find it? Sometimes they don't. In real life, sometimes you don't. I love it. It might seem pointless, but it's not, because you're with the characters and there's character building. There's all these extra journeys they're going on personally in their minds. I love what Abercrombie does when he subverts some of these tropes sometimes, man. Like, just, you go on this big adventure, the grand quest, to go get the seed, the magical element. You get there, it's gone. Where is it? We don't know. The whole journey was a waste of time. They've been gone for months. Oh well, guess they had to turn around and go home now. It's just brilliant. I love it so much. Last thing I wanted to say is just, it's interesting how Logan, I've always thought it's interesting how Logan self-deludes himself all the time. With just like, he's always telling Jezal this whole journey, like, oh, leave the fighting to people, dumb enough to do it, ha ha, like me, the best thing you can do is go find yourself a woman, settle down, have a family, nice quiet life, like, that's good. Scores never get anybody anywhere. And at the end of the book, he's just like, well, I guess I'm going to go back to the north and settle scores. And you're just like, do you just like this, Logan? Are you just a maniac? Like, do you just love violence? Is that what you are? Maybe he is at his core. I don't know. That remains to be seen. Teaser for Last Argument of Kings. Let's jump ahead to the cold and snowy north, where we have the Dogman, Three Trees, Tall Duru, Thunderhead, Black Dow, Harding Grim. All up there in the north, you've got west with the Union army that's going to fight Bethod, king of the Northmen. Through a circumstance of happenstances, Dogman and the crew decide we want to fight with the Union. Screw Bethod, we're fighting against him. So they go try and audition for themselves to fight with the Union. They get denied. They set a little trap and kidnap the Lord Marshal, and they're like, yeah, see how good we are at this? Do you want us on your side? We'd love to be there. And Union's like, oh yeah, sure, for sure. Yeah, man, come on over. It's all good. Come on over here. So they're fighting with the Union now. Through happenstance, Colonel West is stuck with Prince Ladisla, one of the biggest pieces of crap in this series, and that is saying something. He is the firstborn son of King Glustrod, and he is just the whiniest little prick you have. Oh. He's like sitting in his tent with servants and like heaping tables of food, telling musicians to play him songs as he lounges on his couch, talking about how brave he is. Meanwhile, his men are starving outside, like that type of prick. Through a series of unfortunate incidents, Bethod attacks them, decimates the army. West barely escapes with his life, with Ladisla in tow, stumbles into the Dogman and their crew, who are kind of like, screw this, we're not fighting for Ladisla. Like, we're fighting with the Union, but this kid, like, jeez. They bump into them. So now it's the crew of Northmen, it's West, it's Ladisla, and two people he picked up from the prisoner of war camp. There's Pike and Cathal. And they're stumbling through the north trying to survive. I love West in these chapters, especially when he becomes furious, when he gets his name. Blackdown names him Furious. When he basically like bites the nose off of someone in battle, and then comes back to camp and Ladisla is trying to sexually assault Cathal. And West just walks up to him stone cold, shoves him in the chest, and pushes the crown prince off of a cliff. It's a turning point for West, where he starts to take some agency now, and you can really see his anger and his temper. We saw it in book 1 with Artie and that whole situation, but now we're really seeing what this man is capable of, and it kind of shocks you, honestly. You're really happy when he does it, but even like Black Dow's clapping him on the back, like, I knew you could do it. And you know, when Black Dow's giving you compliments, probably want to watch what you're doing. End up getting back with the Northmen, or we're not with the Northmen, with the Union. There's some stuff that happens with Lord Marshal Burr, which is just awesome, where there's these two generals, Polder and Croy, who are just fighting at each other all the time. They're kind of these diva generals who can't get along. And the Marshal gets sick with like indigestion in the middle of the battle, and there's like aides running to West, like to see the Lord Marshal, and West is just like deflecting them and like giving them orders that are from the Lord Marshal, but they're actually from him. And then when Marshal Burr wakes up, he's just like, oh yes, good, that's what I would have done the whole time. Like, kind of covers for him. He gets away with it, which is pretty cool. End of this book though, Three Trees dies back to the mud. He gets killed by Fenris the Feared, who's this giant with tattoos on one side and armor on the other. We don't know what he is yet. Maybe we will. It's really brutal, and Dogman buries Three Trees and becomes the new chief, because Tal'Durru, Thunderhead, and Black Dow can't get along with each other at all. So they're like, we need someone to lead us that's not the two of us. Dogman, you're it. Dogman's like, all right, I guess we're doing this. So watch for that coming into book 3. And lastly, but not leastly, I saved the best for last, we have Glokta becoming the superior of Dagazka, going down to Dagazka and trying to hold off the Gurkish siege. This is Glokta's book before they are hanged. He goes there, man, and you just see his ruthlessness, his force of personality. He takes over the city, competently defends it for 2 months. The Archlector and people in the Close Council didn't think he could do it for a week. He didn't know this, but he holds it for 2 months. He enlists the help of Nicomo Koska, famed soldier of fortune, one of the best side characters in fantasy, in my opinion. Koska's like this old mercenary, you know, drunk, but like when the battle's on, he's just like the man for the hour. Like, he's all put together and like sharp and whatever, all of a sudden betrays anybody, any employer, as long as someone else pays him more money. It's like, and he's just like, I don't know, didn't claim to be anything different, you know what I mean? It's very, very funny. Glokta takes over this city and runs it for 2 months, heads back to Adua after. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens. I don't have time to get into it all because I realize this video is running a little long, but it's some of my favorite stuff in the book. His sarcasm and his wit is at another level. I like that Vitari is added in, this other practical, who's kind of working for Salt, but she's kind of like, look, we can make an arrangement here. Like I don't like everything Salt does. You don't like everything Salt says. Like, we can work together here. Like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm beneath you, because I don't think I'm beneath you as a practical, even though you're a superior. But, like, we can work together here. Really enjoyed that part of it. Glokta goes back to the Union. Salt's just, like, super happy. And he keeps his title as superior. So now he's superior of Adua alongside this other guy who's kind of a jerk. Glokta has some really good interactions with Artie in this book as well. She thinks West is dead, and the debt collectors have come and like cleaned out her house when he gets back, and like she's out of money, she's starving, she's all this stuff. Glokta just like sends his practicals to the debt collector, and he's like, oh no, like absolutely not, this is not happening. Do you know who you're messing with? It's me, the cripple. And like the guy's like bowing on the floor and like makes it better than it was before and all this stuff. Glokta's interesting because he's ruthless and he does some of the worst things in this series, but he shows compassion at the weirdest times. When he lets go Carlo Dan Eider in Dagosca and just lets her go for no reason other than he just thinks it's the right thing to do, and he doesn't want to just be torturing and killing everybody all the time, even though he's extremely ruthless. Sometimes his mercy wins out. When he takes that girl out of the cell, she turns out to be an eater. That backfired. But still, the gesture was still there. Taking care of Artie protectively. Looking out for his practicals. There's certain things and moments of compassion that Glokta has interspersed with these intense moments of cruelty, which are really fascinating to me to think about and to read about, and to kind of weigh in the balance of, is Glokta pure evil? Is he just an opportunist? Is he just a very pragmatic person who's like, this is realistic for me to do, so I'm going to do it. And when a good thing comes along that I can try and do, I'll try and do that just to balance the scales a bit. I don't know. Watch on that going forward, especially Last Argument of Kings. Anyway, that's what I'm going to have time for today for Before They Are Hanged. I love this book. There's not much in this book I don't like. There's actually nothing in this book I don't like. I love every part of it. It's amazing. Last Argument of Kings is great too. I cannot rank these. They're like one complete story to me. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings in my mind, where it's one complete story, and it's hard to rank the individual books compared to the other books. They all serve different purposes and move the story along in different ways and have their different functions. So tune in next week for our deep dive on Last Argument of Kings and the finale of the First Law trilogy. Until then, be kind to each other.